Jeffrey Springs has had like one healthy season in his
Right.
career, one healthy
Right.
starter season.
Yes.
Other than that, it's been a lot of question marks. And that was
Can anybody that enjoyed Jeffrey Springs pitching, myself included and Kevin included,
You love that changeup.
yeah, exactly. Would we put our hand on the fire for a healthy full season of Jeffrey Springs from here on out?
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulysses Zambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs or Carl Crawford,
we are here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 6th season covering the Rays daily.
And every season up till 2024, they've gone to the playoffs, but you can still grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, and subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
Guess what, people? The college football playoffs is here, and you don't want to miss a moment of the action. The college football playoff presented by Allstate begins with 4 first-round games, December 20th and 21st on ESPN, ABC, TNT, and Max. Do you think Stu Sternberg watches college football?
I'm sure he does, but he probably invests in it. Does some sports betting on a little thing called FanDuel as well, which I'm sure we'll get to in just a moment. All right, so the worst kept secret is out. The Rays had been shopping a starting pitcher or more, and a deal was made between, of all teams, the Oakland Athletics. So the Athletics get Jeffrey Springs and Jacob Lopez, and the Rays get Joe Boyle, Will Simpson, Jacob Watters, and a Comp A draft pick. So a 4-for-2 deal where the A's, of all teams, are adding salary, quite a bit of salary, because Springs will be making $10.5 million in 2025 and 2026. And I think there's also a team option in there, while the Rays get a lot of cheap assets between right-handed pitcher Boyle, infielder, outfielder Will Simpson, right-handed pitcher Jacob Watters, and a nice draft pick. The Rays will have a lot of picks in the upcoming July draft, which is always nice for a small market, low payroll team like that.
Let's break it down, though. Let's break it down, because you said something that we should all be kind of, I don't know if embarrassed, but not proud of. The Oakland, well, not even Oakland, the A's.
Yeah, wherever they're playing.
The Sacramento A's?
Sacramento A's, and then soon to be Las Vegas A's. Boy, what a mess they're in.
Yeah, the A's. Man, it's a sad day, or whatever adjective you want to use, when the A's are being the ones paying our salaries because we don't want to pay them. And again, and don't get me wrong, people. I understand very well that this is actually a good baseball trade, and it needed to be done. Like, we have a lot of starters.
Yes, and he was the most expensive player on the roster as well. Not to bury the lead here or jump right out on it, but Jeffrey Springs has had like one healthy season in his career, one healthy starter season.
Yes.
Other than that, it's been a lot of question marks, and that was a great season. Don't get me wrong. But as far as consistency and racking up innings for that amount of money, no thank you. Now, having said all that, yes, it is very funny and very interesting and very unique that the A's would take on this amount of salary, that we are basically salary dumping to the A's of all teams, and not the Red Sox or the Yankees or the Cubs or the Dodgers or somebody like that. But I believe that the A's are in quite a bit of hot water with the Players Association for not spending as long as they have. So I feel like they had to do something at the end of the day to boost up their payroll. So
I think
I do get it from that perspective.
I think our friend of the pod, David Sampson, was saying something about $70 million that they're getting in revenue sharing, which means that they have to spend around that, which it would bring their payroll for next year to 100 mil. I think he was saying. Yeah. So yeah, they're on spending mode right now. But it's just, again, pick the adjective. I'm picking sad. It's sad to be salary dumping on the A's. Like, that's not great. No. Having said that, you did the first best thing if you want to look at it as a positive for the race. Can anybody that enjoyed Jeffrey Springs pitching, myself included and Kevin included,
love that changeup?
Yeah, exactly. Would we put our hand on the fire for a healthy full season of Jeffrey Springs from here on out?
Absolutely.
I would not. And
even no, like you were. Yeah, I just want to introduce this. He returned late in 2024, and he was good in those 7 starts. But
then
he had to be shut down at the behest of his surgeon or medical team.
Right. Which is not a good thing. And again, the 2022 season, fantastic. The 2023 season, he only had, I believe, 3 starts, and they were bleeping gorgeous starts. Yeah. Misses the rest of 2023, misses most of 2024. Like you said, he comes back for 7 starts, and then they're like, you know what? Let's shut this bad boy up for a while. We could see you return at the end of the season, but you know what? Let's just be safe, and you're out. You're out for the season. Just have a long off season for you. I can't put my hand on the fire for that. And if you're a Rays fan that's upset about this deal, I understand, but I'm just asking you to really, let's be logical about this. Do you think Jeffrey Springs, with his track record, is able to put up a whole full season? Yeah. I don't think so. Or at least I wouldn't put green Skittles of that he would be doing that. And I don't think anybody else should.
Yeah, and I think that's the calculus that the Rays were making of, yes, when he's on the field, he's amazing. He's electric. He's a top of the rotation guy. But we have a guy who's cheaper and has posted the last couple of years in Zach Littell, and we don't think he's going down for the count anytime soon. And plus, there's I feel like Jeffrey Springs, with that one amazing season, is more of a name brand quotient than whatever Zach Littell does for one reason or another. I can't quite put my finger on it. And we should look, I know coming back from injury, small sample size, trying to get right, but he did lose some life on his fastball and other pitches, and I think his fastball did get hit quite a bit when it came to that. So losing 1.5 miles, 2 miles per hour for a guy that's already only throwing 91, 92, 93 is a problem. So
that's huge.
Notate that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Again, and then Kevin, you could play again. If you hate this trade, you could say, well, you know what? You could still see him perform in April, May, and if the team is out of it, then maybe you can still flip him. And I get that argument, but again, the big issue is, what if he gets hurt in March, April?
Right.
Or even spring training.
His trade value goes kaput. He's worthless.
This is probably the highest you're going to see him, unless you roll the dice and he is fantastic and he doesn't get hurt at all until June, July, and then you can flip him. Cool. Maybe that would be even higher. But can you take that risk if you're the Rays? And we know how they like to count their green Skittles. They do. Yes. $10.5 million for a guy that might not show up. That's too much money for them.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. We've got much more to discuss, but first we have to tell the audience something very important, and that is Select Quote. We got to tell you about Select Quote. Select Quote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. Other life insurance brokers offer impersonal, one-size-fits-all policies that may cost you more and cover you less, while Select Quote's licensed insurance agents work for you to tailor a life insurance policy for your individual needs in as little as 15 minutes. You invest so much time to take care of yourself, And to be the healthiest, best version of you, well, Select Quote's exclusive policies can reward that effort. If you are in good health, they work with carriers that could get you same-day coverage for up to $5 million, no medical exam required. And these policies, they're more affordable than you think. You could get coverage for up to $1 million for as little as $20 per month. So what are you waiting for? Head over to selectquote.com, and a licensed insurance agent will call you right away with the right policy for your life and your budget. SelectQuote, they shop and you save. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/locked-on. Go to selectquote.com/locked-on today to get started. One more time, that is selectquote.com/LOCKEDON. So the prize in the Springs deal for the Rays anyway, I am salivating at the comp A draft pick, but yes.
We should also say goodbye to Jacob Lopez.
Jacob Lopez.
Not a
yes,
big.
We mentioned that as a footnote. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. We saw him a little bit. 22 and 2/3 innings, 19 hits allowed, 9 walks, 12 earned runs. Thank you, Jacob. Hope it goes well. We didn't get to see enough of you, really.
Right. Yeah. Flat out. Before we get into the prize of this deal, Joe Boyle, in a vacuum on the surface, do you think the Rays, quote unquote, won this deal? And I know it's too soon to tell, but were you pleased with the haul, I guess we should say?
Ultimately, I think they got interesting pieces, and I think they could develop into something, especially Boyle.
Boyle is the quote unquote centerpiece, we think, at 6'7" and amazing stuff between his 97 to 99 fastball and a sweeper that he sometimes can throw in the zone for strikes. But he's definitely a project in the making. If Snyder and his team can figure him out and find a way to not walk as many guys as he walks, then he could, one, be a solid starter, or two, be a very, very dominant closer down the line.
Yes. But going back to if you quote unquote win the trade, they got interesting pieces. I think they could develop, like you said, especially Boyle, into something that could help the Rays either in the rotation or at the back end of the bullpen. But ultimately, Kev, what do we need? What does this team need?
Yes. We need offense. Offense. And
right now. And Boyle is not going to be swinging the bat. And Will Simpson is not going to be swinging the bat for the Rays this season because he literally has less than 50 plate appearances in Double-A. So he is not a part of 2025 nor 2026. And you got a pick not playing this year. And a third player, was it Watters?
Yes, right-handed pitcher Jacob Watters.
Again, pitcher. So did they get interesting pieces? Yes. Would they ultimately perhaps, quote unquote, win the trade? Yeah, I could see that happening. But that's not what we need. And maybe this was the best offer that they got. And we've heard a lot from people in the front office. Like, it's not usually, and in the draft too, it's not, they don't usually go for what they need. Rather, what is the best player available that we can get? Especially in the draft. But this one, maybe this was the best, most intriguing option that they heard.
Yeah, it did surprise me because the assumption was, yes, they're going to trade one of their mini starters, at least one of their mini starters. And in return, they would have some sort of major league ready bat. And they didn't get that from the A's. And the A's are a team that has quite a bit of bats at their disposal. As the trade suggests, they need major league pitching to step in immediately. But when you look at the A's roster, you salivate and say, man, if we could have gotten one of these guys for Jeffrey Springs in combination with a Jacob Lopez or whatever, we would be very, very pleased, whether it is Brent Rooker or Shea Langeliers or Lawrence Butler or JJ Bleday or Tyler Soderstrom. I mean, they have a listing of guys. They're pretty much set on offense. And my thought was, okay, if they're working on a deal, that the Rays would get one of those guys out of it, and that's not the case here. So
they're going for quantity, and I feel like that's repeating the Blake Snell trade all over again. Ooh, Luis Pacino, look, El Eléctrico. Look at the stuff. Joe Boyle. Oh, Blake Hunt, really good behind the plate. Like he could develop into something. Jacob Watters.
Yeah.
Cole Wilcox. Did we ever hear anything but injuries about Cole Wilcox? No. And then Francisco Mejia was honestly, out of the Blake Snell deal, Francisco Mejia was the one that actually contributed to the team.
Yeah, for a couple of years, and then he was shipped off. But like, imagine, and some of those guys fill your needs. Like, you need an outfielder, Butler, Blade. That would have pretty much solved your situation there. Look, I don't think
they weren't listening for one. They weren't. Like, really, the A's weren't saying, oh, nope, we can't give you one of these guys. Like, or the Rays did not approach him that way. Did the Rays actually want quantity? I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think they probably go for quantity there. I'm sure they asked on a lot of guys, but they didn't get it. Unless the Rays have, this is part of a longer chess play of, well, I'm thinking a couple things here. One is that they don't do anything else really offensively based on the articles that Mark Topkin has published, based on the Steinbrenner field dimensions, based on the bounce back of expected players, that they're going to roll with the guys that are out there and hope that Steinbrenner field uplifts the offense and Josh Lowe returns to form, Brandon Lau stays healthy, Yandy Diaz stays healthy, Chris Morel returns to form, all these things. The other thing is, and maybe I'm getting a little bit crazy here, but they have saved a lot of money over the last couple months. And they essentially, with this Springs deal, saved themselves $21-22 million for this year and next year. And there were reports that the Rays made an offer to Juan Soto, short on the years, high on the opt-outs. But if they look, and it wasn't going to get accepted, everybody knew that. But if they were at least willing to put it out there in the off chance that something like that was accepted, it tells me that they have money and would be willing to spend. And as their payroll stands right now, I think it's going to be in the low 60s. So I would think and hope that there is another move on the four to get an outfielder or a shortstop that can hit until somebody named Carson Williams is available. Because as it looks like right now, your starting shortstop could be Taylor Walls, who's been one of the worst offensive players combined since 2021.
I'm sorry. I think starting Taylor Walls as a starter for a team that wants to be in the playoffs with the type of rotation that they have, that is very, very qualified, a bullpen that is very, very qualified to be at the league's top, to have a guy like Yandy Diaz who has a batting title, to have a guy like Brendan Lau who could, if healthy, can pop you 39 home runs, Junior Caminero, who is hopefully a guy that can represent and be the face of the franchise, and Josh Lowe, who had a terrific 2023 season, and hopefully he's more that guy than 2024. It would be baseball negligence, Kevin, to start Taylor Walls at shortstop. If you want to have him on the bench for defensive replacement, awesome, fantastic. I applaud you. Eric Neander, awesome, great job. He is a great glove, runs the bases well, awesome. To have him starting at shortstop, you're not a serious organization. You're not serious. At least you're not serious about actually putting a winning effort, because what is the problem is not pitching. The problem is not your bullpen. The problem is not your base running. The problem is not your defense. The problem is your hitting. The problem is your hitting. It's really simple. The problem is your hitting, and you're not targeting people that could fix that area. And starting Taylor Walls at shortstop helps your base running, helps your defense, but it craters your offensive production. So what are we doing?
I get that, but I think that the Rays were probably very excited about the prospect of working with Joe Boyle and the fact that he could be a maybe Tyler Glasnow light in the future. And it's hard to ignore that if he's able to figure it out and able to throw strikes and not walk guys, just based on his size and what he's dealing with. And I think it's going to be a simple message of, hey, simplify your arm action, simplify your mechanics, and hit the target. And that's all you got to do. And he might have to work on better developing the curveball or whatever, because he's really kind of a 2-pitch pitcher right now. So, and maybe it is just harnessing those 2 pitches, and then down the line you learn a 3rd pitch like Tyler Glasnow did. And I think they were also intrigued by having, just going nuts on the draft. I mean, they're going to have the 14th pick, the 34th pick, the 36th pick, the 51st pick. They have roughly 5 of the top 70 picks. And I know that fans don't want to hear that, because you're not going to see these guys for the next 4 or 5, 6 years, whatever it is. But they've always got to have an eye on the present. They have to focus on the present with an eye on the future always. And I think that is part of the MO. And plus, I guess I'm just going to keep reiterating Topkin's article of Steinbrenner Field, that they think that maybe their pitching is so lights out from their rotation to their bullpen, and the dimensions of that minor league ballpark will get more from Aranda and Meade and Palacios and all these other guys, that they'll be able to win a bunch of games 4-3 or 3-2.
I get that, but doesn't the other team coming in that probably has a better offense than you do, because you were really bad last year and you're not doing anything to change it, so you're probably going to stay around that. The team.
We do have Danny Jansen, though. We do have Danny Jansen.
We do have Danny Jansen, and out goes Alex Jackson. That's something. That's okay. But really, the other team is also going to be playing in your dimensions, and they probably have a better offense than you, unless they're called who?
Yeah, the White Sox.
Maybe. Yeah, exactly. The White Sox. Okay, cool. But we still lost the series against them, didn't we? Yeah. And got swept in Chicago.
I'm just thinking that this can't be it. There has to be more moves on the floor.
This can't be it. And Eric Neander, you can cook, and he cooked with the draft picks. I mean, having the 14, 34, 36, 51st pick in next year's draft, like, they are building something, and which makes me kind of worried that 2025 and 2026 is just put the brakes on. If we get to the playoffs, cool. But we're probably just going to be developing guys. If that's the case, okay, let's go full development. And you know what? Then maybe it's time to talk about trading some other veterans.
Trade Yandy, trade Brandon Lau. Use all that money for those cost overruns, baby. Let's do it without getting in trouble with the MLB Players Association.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, it was, just to put a bow on it before we get to some listener comments, it was disappointing. You have an opportunity dealing with a team that has a surplus of major league ready offense, and you couldn't get one of those guys. One for Jeffrey Springs. But who knows, maybe Will Simpson turns into something. Probably not. He'll probably end up being Austin Shinton. I mean, that's how most of these guys, we can look at his minor league numbers. They're good.
I know, but wait.
A lot of guys' numbers are good.
Let's dive into this, but you got to tell me, where do I put my green Skittles, Kevin? I need to know.
There's only one place to put green Skittles that we know of at the moment, and that is FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place those bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You will get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Where is that at? That is at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel. They are an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League.
Okay.
Yeah.
People on the timeline were going nuts about, and I get Joe Boyle, because like we've seen the stuff in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, he did it against the Rays. He put a solid campaign up against yours truly.
We see the stuff at MLB, then I can be like, okay, I'm intrigued. But and like thinking about what could be. But on the timeline, people were like, oh my gosh, Will Simpson, have you seen this guy? It's amazing. Oh my, look at his offense. He's gonna be a stud.
We've said it about Vidal Brujan. We've said it about So many other guys. Kevin Padlow.
How do people still get lost in minor league numbers? Don't. How many prospects do we need to talk about to understand that it's a very fickle and difficult game to get to and to get there? MLB is very difficult, and then to be good, it's very difficult, and then to have staying power, even more difficult. And yet these people on the timeline and social media go, "Oh, Will Simpson, he's going to be a stud. He's going to be hitting right after Junior Caminero. It's going to be great." You don't know ball. You do not know ball. Stop.
That is very rarely how it works.
Very rarely. Aranda, Curtis Mead, Vidal Brujan, Taylor. By the way, Taylor Walls had a career 123 WRC plus in the minors. 123 WRC plus. He was 23% better offensively than all of his peers in minor leagues. Come on, people. We have seen enough baseball. Prospects, they can be good, and hopefully all of them are, but we know mathematically it's not going to happen. It's very difficult.
We were excited about Greg Jones,
Casey Gillespie,
Willie Vasquez, Carlos Colmenares. I mean, we can just go up and down the list
Josh
of
Saley,
top 15 prospects. And
Josh Saley, Tim Beckham, Brendan McKay.
So yeah, it's unfortunate. Or they trade guys away and they wind up having success elsewhere. I.e. Cronenworth, i.e. Xavier Edwards, Nate Lowe, so on and so forth. Getting to some comments here on the deal. Let's see, what does that mean there on the YouTube's another comp pick to the Tampa Bay Rays? Yep. Get excited for the draft. Start looking at those SEC and ACC schools.
I legit saw this meme and I died.
That's great. Was that AI generated, I wonder?
I don't know, but it's so good, bro. I loved it.
I need to go back and watch SpongeBob. I think I forget how good of a show, and I'd probably still enjoy it as an adult in his 30s. I'd still probably, the jokes are probably more hit instead of 12-year-old or 11-year-old me.
I never got into SpongeBob, actually. Never got into it. Never saw one full episode, so maybe there's some like 90-second X clips that make me go, maybe I should go back and watch that show. I might get a kick out of it. Get into some comments on the Springs deal. Our buddy Ryan Hill says, we knew someone had to go. I like Springs a lot, but this is a nice package for the Rays. Thumbs up. Maybe we see the Rays and the A's in the ALCS next season. LOL. The great Al Bushman says, hope it pans out. Caleb says, trading Springs because he's, quote, expensive to the A's of all teams. Love that. Ray says, payroll dump. Nitin Talk says, really like this trade. Boyle has lights out stuff. The Rays can make him a stud. Will Simpson had a great year in the minors, and we get a pick. What's not to like? Florida Man says, I hate how the Rays keep nobody, ... Tyler says, I like Joe Boyle. Think he has a lot of potential. Same for Will Simpson. And then a couple more here. Rays fan Nick says, low risk and potentially very high reward. Springs and Lopez are good pitchers, no doubt about it. If Kyle Snyder can work in his voodoo on Boyle, he will be a beast. If not, he's still a serviceable BP guy with a couple of other guys with potential and a high draft pick. Danny Perez says, I think Littell would have been better to trade value-wise, but I understand he was more expensive. I think referring to Springs as far as more expensive financially. So you could argue that Littell might be able to give you something better, but if you're the Rays, Littell is cheaper, and the whole thing about trading Springs also is because of the injury, not only financially, but the injury risk. Littell has shown that apparently he has kind of a rubber arm. So you write that if you're the Rays, but yeah, I think mostly the fan base, you hear them.
You have to get it by now. If you're a Rays fan, you knew this was coming.
Yeah,
it was reported, and then this is their MO. This is what they do.
And if you're listening to Locked On Rays and watching us, and guess what? If you're watching us, hit that like button. It helps us so much. That algorithm, people, it's evil. Like, you really need to comment. You really need to get the likes to get some bleeping traction. So any like that you give us helps us immensely, and we really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, create fake email accounts and just give us likes.
That'd be nice. Ask ChatGPT how to do that, and then I don't know, do a macro. So
get us some Russian bots to give us hundreds of likes.
I
We would
told you,
appreciate
Elon has stopped taking my calls, so that's a problem because I was going to.
He's busy with the Department of Governmental Efficiency.
Yeah, that's
Taking
right.
this one.
Doge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right.
The old
That's
Doge.
that's another podcast. That's
You have
locked
to
on
hire
politics.
multiple people for a government efficiency division.
Let's do a study to be
Yeah.
more efficient. Yeah, no, it's a Rays deal. Look, there's positives, there's negatives. Obviously, I think it's a good baseball trade. I hope it works out. Boyle,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very easy comp, but yeah, tall, righty with amazing stuff that doesn't know how to control it. Yeah, it's kind of easy as a Rays fan to go, that was Tyler Glasnow, wasn't it? And then when
Right.
you say, this guy has only 2 pitches, so if he could get a third one, wait, wasn't that whole thing about Tyler Glasnow that he wanted to create a third pitch and it was first called a slutter, and we had a lot of fun on the podcast with that pitch, slutter. Hey, what?
Then he has elbow surgery and gets traded to the Dodgers and gets $140 million and wins the World Series.
In 4 years, Joe Boyle is going to get a $150 million contract from the Red Sox, whatever. I don't care. But if he's able to do that, then that means that he did good stuff for the Rays. So hopefully he does. But I really wish we would have at least done something for the offense in 2025. And I really hope that that's coming.
And funnily enough, and we still have yet to do an episode on this. We still probably have to do a segment or two at least, is the Rule 5 draft. The Rays picked up 2 players and they're both pitchers. So not an offense focus with that. So they are stocking up on the arms, baby. Again, I think they just want to win games 2-1, 3-2. That's what they're rolling with here. I really hope they're not done upgrading the lineup, but remains to be seen.
Yeah, remains to be seen. All right. And enough talk. People, write it down in the comments. What do you think about this return for Jeffrey Springs and for Jacob Lopez? What do you think about the trade itself? Leave it down in the comments. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Let's remind folks, 3 episodes a week.
Yep.
Not set days. It's kind of more organic now. And when life lets us be in front of the mic for an hour and talk shop. But
we have very busy schedules, dinners with Stu, dinners with Brian, coffee with Matt. We got places to be.
It gets tough, trying to get this baseball team to stay in Tampa Bay for generations to come. In fact,
Stu just texted me. Why did he send me that meme? That is so inappropriate. Stu, you gotta. You can tell when it's late when he sends those memes.
Yeah,
I'm just
lock
saying.
it up. So not a defined schedule, people. So whenever they come up, but just know that we will be with you 3 times a week for sure. Even during the holidays, we're gonna make it 3 times a week. But just the schedule is going to be a little bit, funky.
Indeed. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you later on this week.